Welcome to Paul Ponders. My name is Paul Solano of PS&L Marketing Group, and I may be reached via email at paul@paulponders.com. Thank you for joining me for my foray into podcasting. It is great to be collaborating with my friend and associate Chalonzo Amos of PodPro Entertainment to bring you some fun, exciting, and informative podcasts. For many years, I've been referred to as the Connector, or in Greater Boston circles as the Connector. With PSNLmarketinggroup.com, I've created a side gig outside of my general manager role at Pearl Street Station Restaurant in Malden, Mass. to connect you and get things done. I'm happy to talk to you about a whole assortment of activities like comedy shows, musical festivals, special events, fundraising, book signings, audiobooks, voiceovers, past writings, business development, real estate, and more. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me at paul@paulponders.com with any questions. Now on to #PaulPonders. But first, please sit back and relax and listen to today's podcast. If you are driving or operating heavy machinery and just listening, then please just listen and stay focused on your task at hand. Thanks again for listening, subscribing to my podcast. Enjoy my ponderings. Let #PaulPonders begin. Greetings. Here I am, Paul Ponders Podcast. This is my first podcast right now, and I thank you for joining us today. And again, I want to thank Chalonzo Amos from PodPro Entertainment for helping me put this whole deal together. This is really, really something. We're going to have some fun, and I'm thinking back. I'm pondering. That's what I do at paulponders.com. I'm just thinking back in my life, things that I've written. I majored in history at Boston College. I used to write many papers each week. I love writing. And I reflect back, I ponder, and I just think, what are some of the wonderful articles I've written? What are some of the wonderful papers I've written? We're not going to go back to the Byzantine Empire paper that I wrote back in BC, 21 pages. We're not going to talk about that, at least not today. But anyways, we're going to just talk about something called the contract of parently love. And that's something that I put together for the benefit of a dear friend of mine of years past and still to this day. She knows who she is. And it goes back to 2001. And I'm not going to go into any specifics or whatever, but there was really a need for a contract of parently love. When I think back to contract law, I think back to buying a car. When I think back to taking out a loan, a mortgage, I think back to signing a contract. And the contract is between two parties. And my friend was having some issues with her son. And there just wasn't any jiving. There really wasn't anything really good happening in this mother-son relationship. There was love, there was respect, but there wasn't a whole lot of connection. And what I decided to do was, okay, I'm going to create this contract of parently love. And it's something that both parties, the mother and the son, and it could be the father and the son, could be father, daughter, whatever that connection is. Well, let's sit down and let's talk about this. So I assembled this contract of parently love, and this is going to be available for me to email to you if you want to get a copy of this and read along. I could just very easily send it to you. You just have to email me at paul@paulponders.com, and you could look it over. I just want you to just hear where I'm going with this. And this is pretty basic on the principles of life. What is the expectation that a mother or father has of their child, their son or daughter? What are the expectations? So I'm going to try to go through this. We'll take some time. I want you to just be reflecting. You don't have to take notes. Again, I could email this to you. But it's the contract of parently love that I developed back in 2001. There were some tweaks in 2003 and in 2011. And actually, this has worked for several people. And I'm very happy about this. If I could just touch upon one life, one relationship, one family, I've done my job. This may not be for everyone, but you really have to think long and hard as to whether or not you really want to partake in the contract of parently love. So here goes. It starts off with a preamble. The contract of parently love listed below is a contract that will only work if both parties are willing to take it seriously. Human nature being what it is, no person is perfect. Both parties are to act in a responsible and respectful manner. Herein lies the essence of a true parent-son, parent-daughter relationship. Section 1. I, state your name, hereafter referred to as a parent, hereby swear that I will continue my loving, nurturing, and caring ways as the parent of one, state the name, hereafter referred to as son or daughter. Please circle. Section 2. I, state your name, hereby swear that I will continue my loving, caring, and devoted ways as the son/daughter of fill in the blank. Section 3. I, as the parent, hereby expect and demand the following attributes and conditions of what a parent truly deserves from a son or daughter. Responsible for own actions and prepared to suffer the consequences. Acceptance of others. Patience, kindness, support. Respect, proper tone when speaking. No vulgarity in home and consideration of others in the household. Honesty at all times. Open lines of communication and trust in one another. Listen when others are speaking. Help each other when help is needed and share in family time. Willingness to work together as a family unit. Willingness to participate in household chores and projects and not expect things. Willingness to make the time for family, dinner, church, and family gatherings. Respect for family rules, curfew, and no tolerance of alcohol and drug use. No violence, threats against anyone in the household. Must take responsibility to discuss troubling issues at home and lead by example. Must attend school and do assigned homework projects. Must accept the consequences and be prepared to accept the setting of limits. Section 4. I, son or daughter, hereby expect and demand the following attributes of what a son-daughter truly deserves from a parent. A loving, caring, and nurturing environment and household that will provide me with the basis of what it takes to mature as a young adult into adulthood. Any loving, caring, and nurturing ways are only for my best interest and will help me in the future. I believe that I deserve this type of environment to survive and thrive. Section 5. I, son or daughter, hereby swear that I will try my absolute best to meet the attributes and conditions set forth in Section 3 by my parent. I understand that any deviation or non-compliance of the said environment and household will result in termination of the said contract. Section 6. I, the parent, hereby swear that my deviation or non-compliance of the rules set forth will result in termination of the said contract and likely expulsion from the said environment and household immediately. Section 7. I, the parent, hereby swear that the rules set forth are love, honor, respect, safety, and devotion from a true son or daughter. Section 8. I, the parent, will reluctantly petition the Child Custody Division of the Family Court to transfer the physical and parental custody of said son, daughter to whomever upon review of all facts leading up to this event. Section 9. Any termination of said contract will set the ground rules for living in an environment and household without the parent. Section 10. This contract is signed under the pains and penalty of perjury on whatever day in the year 2000 by the undersigned. And there's a place for the parent to sign and the son and daughter to sign. So there you have it. That's the contract of parently love. Now, some of you may be listening to this and you're saying, wait a second, what do you mean? What's that about Section 8? I, the parent, will reluctantly petition the Child Custody Division of the Family Court to transfer the physical and parental custody of said son and daughter to, upon review of all facts leading up to this event. What do you mean? I would never do that to my son or daughter. The son or daughter would say, you would never do that to me. And the parent would have the courage to say, well, we've reached the point of no return. You're not just being a brat. You're not just being a horrible child. You're just not getting it. You're not getting what the essence of our relationship is. I want you to reread this. So what happened in this first instance, and I just speak of this first example, is that the mother and the son sat down, they did some crying, and they reached an agreement. And they both signed this agreement. Well, to make a long story short, to make it bearable and all, I'm very happy to say that 21, 22 years later, the son is leading just a great life. 4 children, married, 4 children, and he's really made something of himself. And he had a mother who really, really cared for him, because this young man at the time, at age 13, 14, was headed down a very, very dangerous slope, very dangerous path. So this worked. So what happened was I published it in the old Malden Observer in the 2000s, and they printed that. And I will tell you that it really affected a lot of lives. I sent out quite a few copies, and some people called me and thanked me. Other people said, yeah, this isn't for us. And that's okay. There's no right or wrong answer in this whole process. But again, I am willing to send this contract to you for you to look at, to analyze. Feel free to amend it. There's no trademark on this, even though I do have a copyright on it on the bottom of the contract. But it's something that I want you to just look at this, and I want you to read it. Let's look at the essence of what it is to be a parent. I have 2 beautiful daughters and a wonderful stepson, my second marriage. And it's something that we have to walk the walk and talk the talk in life, and just deal with these situations at hand, and just looking at what's expected of your children. Your children expect of the parent and all. If you could go to City Hall and you could get a license to I don't know, what do you need a license for these days? What do you need a permit for? Let's think about that. All the things you need a permit for, but you need a permit to be a parent. You need a license to be a parent. The answer is simple. So I think that's about it for my first podcast. Can't really think of anything else to say except for please reach out to me. Really. Paul Ponders. Paul at paulponders.com. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. I've really enjoyed this podcast. I hope you really enjoyed this. And please become a frequent listener and a subscriber of Paul Ponders, hashtag Paul Ponders. I thank you for taking the time to join us today, tonight, whenever you're listening to this. But stay well, and we will catch up with you real soon on the next episode. Until then, thank you. I trust that you have enjoyed hashtag Paul Ponders. Again, my name is Paul Solano of PS&All Marketing Group, and I may be reached via email at paul@paulponders.com to do some more pondering. Many thanks to my longtime collaborative friend and associate, Alonzo Amos of PodPro Entertainment, in bringing you our fun, exciting, and informative podcast. You rock, Techie Alonzo. With ps&allmarketinggroup.com, I created a side gig outside of my general manager role at Pearl Street Station Restaurant in Malden, Mass. to connect you and get things done. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me at paul@paulponders.com with any questions. Please share hashtag Paul Ponders with your family, friends, colleagues, and associates. Thank you again for listening to hashtag Paul Ponders, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or website paulponders.com, or wherever you stream your podcasts. Until we meet again, my friend, stay well, indeed.